Feely here today to talk to you about the basic first steps in nutrition and a healthier lifestyle. Now, the reason I put together a few video series is for the simple reason that the gym's not open until July 20th. People are beginning to inquire and message saying they can't wait for the gyms to be back open so they can start a new plan. Now, as much as it pains me to say is we don't need a gym to start a new plan to live a healthier lifestyle. Now, just with my own background, I would have always been a big kid growing up. So when I was 13, I would have been 14 stone. When I was 15 years of age, I would have been 16 stone. When I was 16 stone, I probably would have been about 18 stone. And just through from 16, 17, 18 and 19, things just would have accelerated a lot quicker. I think it doesn't take me to say, but I think a lot of people understand when they're at the age of 16, food choices and behavioural patterns become a bit different. You're in full control of your choice of food. You got a bit more money from part-time jobs to again buy your own food, and of course alcohol comes into play as well. So when I would have got to 19 and a half years of age, I would have been about 23 stone. Now, without any gym, without any personal trainer, without any nutrition plan, I would have went on to lose 10 stone in less than 2 years. Now, everything that we're going to talk about here today is from my own personal experience through weight loss, and of course dealing with clients the last 10 years within the industry, helping them lose weight and live a healthier lifestyle. So what I've done here today is we're just going to start with 5 major points with the basic first steps. And the first basic first step is numbers. Now, we have to understand that it is just a numbers game. When we're wanting to lose weight, especially at the start, it's not like racking up enough points by eating healthy foods that then allows us to lose weight. Your body doesn't really understand where the food is coming from. So if you just wanted to take it into account that at the start, in layman's terms, if your body needs 2,500 calories a day to stay the same weight, it doesn't really matter where the food is coming from. If you hit 2,500 calories, you're not going to lose any weight. If you come underneath 2,500 calories in time, you'll begin to lose weight. And of course, if you're going over, in time you'll begin to gain weight. A day or two here and there is going to make a huge difference. All of this is over time. So that's just the main thing I wanted you to understand with numbers. So people always try to live a healthier lifestyle. They begin to overeat a lot of the healthier foods, but a lot of healthier foods come dense in calories. That's just higher in calories. So we have to remember that it comes back to a numbers game. I don't want you to focus on too much. I just need us to have it here to be able to revert back to. So what I would have done when I began to lose weight is I would have taken an overview, and what I have brackets here is bombs, and within my overview I would have looked at what bombs I had going on through the week. So if we were just going to look at a quick weekly planner, if you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday, well, if I said I have takeaway on these nights, I'm drinking on these nights, and across here my food intake generally is in excess and not good. Not just because it's not a takeaway, not because it's alcohol, just my food choices weren't very good and I would have been eating in excess. So that's what you have to do first when you look at your week, is what are your bombs? When are you drinking excess amount of alcohol? When are you getting takeaways? When you have times in your life or during the week that you gorge on food? And you just need to identify those bombs and begin to put a why to it. It's like, why is that going on and can I change it? Because again, if we come back here to the numbers, and again, we don't need to worry about exact numbers, but if we look at an overview for our week and we see I'm having takeaway 4 times in a week and I'm drinking 5 nights in a week. Well, if we just take exactly what you're doing on that week overview and we bring it to the next week and we deduct 1 night of takeaway and we deduct 1 night of alcohol, generally speaking, you're going to lose weight by just doing that. Now, when we're talking about health, weight loss and fat loss, the most important thing when you're dealing with me at 23 stone is it's get the weight down. No matter how I do it, having the weight on me is going to be more detrimental to my health than the way I do it. So it's very, very important at the start we're trying to get the weight down. So people will say, oh, you're on a plan but you're drinking 3 nights a week. It doesn't matter. You were drinking 5 nights in a week last week. Oh, you're on a new plan and you take away 2 nights a week. You're hardly healthy. You're only starting, because what we start with here, we're trying to continue for the next 10 years and 15 years and 20 years. We don't want to do it for a small block of weeks, get in incredible shape, and then just go back to our old ways. So that's what we're trying to do with the bombs and the numbers, is just what could we fix up before we get into the detail? And this is just an overview. So if you just look at your week and say, well, Friday I have 10 cans, next week I have 8. If you're drinking Friday, Saturday night and Sunday night, can you afford to give up one of those nights? If you're having takeaway on a Friday night, Saturday night and Sunday night, whether it be for your lunch, dinner, or your breakfast, in the delis, it doesn't matter, can you deduct some of them and keep track of how much you're deducting so each week we begin to improve? So that's what we're trying to do before we get into the nitty-gritty, is just deal with an overview. Now, number 3, there's 3 major behavioural patterns. Now, this is very, very important because just in my experience, from both living and dealing with clients, is there seems to be just a trend with behavioural patterns. If you can identify yours and begin to readdress it, that will go a long way again to fixing your numbers to try to put us into a deficit to lose weight. So one of the very common ones will be, you wake up in the morning and you skip breakfast. If you get to mid-morning, you're either still going around the house, you're dealing with the kids' homework, or you're dealing with the kids' schoolwork online, or you're in an office but you just want to get a cup of coffee. Now, it was fine because you were busy and you probably had enough energy from calories, food, the night before to keep you going. But now we get to lunchtime. And this is where we make food choices that's not in line with what we want to achieve down the line. So we might wake up in the morning here and say we're not going to have X, Y, Z and we're going to live a healthier lifestyle. And then here we're going to walk into the kitchen, the deli, the canteen, the restaurant, whatever it is. We're hungry and we can't control our inhibitions, and we can overeat or make food choices that aren't in line with what we're trying to achieve. This can have 2 effects. This can have an effect psychologically, where we begin to talk ourselves down. We're pathetic, we're useless, what are you doing, you shouldn't have done that. And that can just lead us into an obviously worse place later on here, or it could just lead us into a straight 2 fingers up to the world. Well, I've already messed up this day, I'm just having whatever here now. So that's the first one, and that's when starts first, or starts early in the day. Second one is a bit more common, and this is what I'm very, very, very probably associated to, because this is one of my major ones. So I eat good, healthy, sustainable breakfast, might be low calorie. I might even skip it because remember with numbers, your body doesn't know when it's eating. If you have a mid-morning snack, a lunch, and an evening snack, and everything's going well. Everything's going well, and this could be even having a breakfast, no mid-morning snack, just a cup of coffee, a nice light lunch. Skipping this here is having another cup of coffee, and then we're busy here, you see. You're at work, you're out of the home, you're in home, you're working, you're busy with the kids, you're distracted. But now we get to the evening, and there's 2 things that can happen here. In and around the dinner time, I could have the dinner half eaten from when I'm cooking it, or I could be picking so much before the dinner that I almost have the same amount of portion ate from picking as I will with my dinner, leading to a double meal. And again, this can have the same effect over here that can destroy up here. And again, that's just one way where we could lead to overeating, or we have our dinner, we tick the box, but then we cannot stop eating for the rest of the night. And that's just because we didn't eat substantial amount of calories and filling food back here. So this is one that's very common with me, and it's also very common, as a little flip of this, is I call it the cup of tea diet, where everything goes well, but then all of a sudden, if we come home, we prep our dinner, we don't pick, everything's fine, we finish dinner, we finish the wash up at 7 o'clock, you're not going to bed till 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock, you've got a 4 to 5 hour window here now, and you're sitting down, you're going to want a cup of tea and what? Because the association with a cup of tea is chocolate, biscuits, treats. Or you begin to watch a Netflix series, watching a movie, whatever it is, you associate this with food and picking, and then all of a sudden we begin to pick. And again, this is where little cycles of this happens, where, oh well look, I've already had that, so I'm just going to have this. Well, I've already had 2 of them, I may as well have 4 of them because I'm worthless. Do you know all that negative self-talk that we can begin to get when we begin to think we've ruined our whole entire life? Now, with the same psyche that happens here, I just challenge you to say is, if you bought something online and you said, I didn't need that, I shouldn't have bought it, would you go back online and continue to spend until your money was out? You wouldn't. You just accept, oh look, I didn't need it, I'll know better next time. And then when that next time comes around, you know better because you remember you spent your money when you shouldn't have, so now you'll be more questionable about will you spend it again. It's the same thing here. If you did have 1 extra, 2 extra, or had something you felt you shouldn't have, let it there, park it, accept it and move on. That's the only thing we can do. So this is a very common behavioural pattern. And the third one, which is very, very common with people who have a bit of experience trying to live a healthy lifestyle, is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We tick these boxes absolutely no problem. And we got a Saturday and Sunday. Now here, obviously with the office parties before, so might go for a drink with the team, or you might go home and just say, I just need a glass of wine or I need a beer to unwind. So the day is still fine, but you've introduced something here that might offset here. Just in the same pattern of, you might go through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, fine, and you have something here that sets off here, i.e. came to Friday, it was perfect all week, I had 10 beers. Now that led to me to be not being able to control my inhibitions. I had a terrible high calorie poor breakfast, same at lunch, and kind of just had two fingers to the world. I may as well write off Saturday, and then I wake up Sunday and I say, well, I've already done all of this damage, I'll write off this day and I'll just go into Monday and start again. And again, this little explosion mightn't happen here till Saturday night. But we have one day here, it could be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, that will offset the rest of the days. Or it could just be our mindset that we've got to hear that we need some bit of relief and we need some bit of treat. So these are just 3 behavioural patterns, and this one again is very common, with the second one being most effective with me. Now, bringing it back to here is start. And what I try to do with the start is, you've kind of established your bombs and you've identified behavioural patterns. And even with the behavioural patterns, it could be you can't stop picking at a certain time. Why? Like, I'm even worried for overeating the kids' dinners when they don't finish it. That's obviously a behavioural pattern. Dealing on the smaller side, we're just trying to identify the big stuff. Now with the 12 days, what I try to do with the starting 12 days is we go from Monday to a Friday week, 12 days and break a weekend. Now this is where we have to decide what's best for you, because if you are not happy with your current lifestyle, the way you're feeling or your weight or the way you look in your clothes, whatever it is, if you identify your bombs and take away a bomb or two, you're going to lose weight. If you identify your behavioural patterns and try to address them, even with conscious thinking, you're going to 9 times out of 10 go into a deficit and lose weight. And now to take the next step forward is dealing with 12 days. Now the 12 days doesn't mean you just rewrite and forget everything that you've done there. Your best meal plan and your best starting point is improving on whatever you did this week, next week. That's it. Because it's accessible, it's slow, it's interchangeable, and it's adaptable to your life, ensuring consistency change. So here, with the 12 days, I'd always challenge people is, with the bombs depending, we need to have a give and take. So if you're just used to having beers and takeaways on a Saturday and Sunday night or a Friday and Saturday night, I'd be saying, can we just break it for one weekend? I'm not saying that's every weekend out for the rest of your life. I'm just saying I want to repattern your brain a small bit, that if you break one weekend, next weekend you're more conscious thinking that last week you felt great. Because remember, if I have a Chinese and 10, 12 cans, or a bottle of wine and X amount of gins on a Saturday night, whatever it is, I don't wake up on Sunday feeling great. So if I can break that once, the following Sunday I'm going to remember that and be like, oh, I want some more of that, because I felt great. Now within these 12 days, this is very, very personal to you, because what you're doing for these 12 days is trying to improve on your patterns and your overview. So this could be a case of a give and take. You might say to yourself, well, if I'm going to do this Monday to Saturday, I need this bomb on Saturday to propel me to have a better Sunday and carry me through to the next Friday. That's fine, because remember, that's probably 20% better than what you've ever been doing. It could be a case of you love a cup of tea and a biscuit or a snack bar, Kinder Bueno, whatever it is, or a pack of crisps and a fizzy drink. Well, we might need to put a little golden nugget at the end of each day. Well, if you're going to keep your weekends away from takeaway food and beer and whatever, well look, let's have a cup of tea and that at the end of each day, because that's what's going to get there. And again, even when you do this, people say, oh, you can't be on a healthy eating plan if you're having takeaway, chocolate, sweets, whatever it is. What we're trying to do is create a foundation in order to build. And the foundation of any building is the most important for the structure. So what we're trying to do is, what we are doing, and when I say we're trying to break a weekend, we're not doing that for the rest of your life. And when I say we're having takeaway or we're having a bar of chocolate at the end of each day with a cup of tea to get you through, you're not doing that for the rest of your life either. But you're trying to break it down through in my own experience, I would have started with I would have been drinking every weekend, and then I would have been saying I'm having one takeaway every week. And the start could have been 2 takeaways, but I would have went from Chinese, working through different stuff on the menu because your palate begins to change, your stomach begins to change in regards to the kind of choice of foods that you do enjoy. From there, I would have moved on from Chinese, I went into a chipper, kind of worked through there, again, stomach and palate changed. Ended up going to pizza, went from fully loaded, meat pizzas, thick, to going down to tin-based, working right down to a 9-inch tin-based vegetarian pizza with chicken, because your palate and your wants and your needs change over time. Now that's over a big long period of time. That's not just going from weekend to weekend. And that's why you have to take the long game when you're doing this, but just identifying your bombs, the 3 behavioural patterns, and you'll notice there's more behavioural patterns. These are just 3 major patterns. And then starting with 12 days, seeing what can you change to then expand the following week. And you just gotta keep having a give and take. If you're gonna take something, what are you giving towards yourself? So, and if you're gonna take something, i.e. I need that alcohol that night, that takeaway that night, or that treat that night, that's great, what are you going to do for it? And when we move from the 12 days, it's the 1 pound goal. Now people, when we begin to change their lifestyle, they seem to dislike when they lose 1 pound, and it baffles me. Because if you can all imagine the pound of butter, and if you're saying to yourself, you're going to lose 1 of them every week and it's just fat, so that's fat. You're going to take it off the wrapper, put it through your hands and see it, that's fat, that's what you're going to lose. I think that's quite substantial. And people seem to turn their noses at it. And we can't, because if I say to you right here now that, would you accept being down 2 stone on Christmas Day? So for whatever shirt, jeans, blouse, skirt, dress, whatever you're thinking of wearing and hoping to wear, you're going to be 2 stone lighter on Christmas Day. Would you take it? I think anyone in the right mind who's interested in a healthier lifestyle will take 2 stone right now. Now to lose 2 stone, that means starting a new healthier lifestyle, even with the basic 1st steps on June 15th, next Monday, you're going to lose £1 a week. That's all it's going to equate to. It's not going to equate to any more than £1 a week. So when we are jumping on a scale and it's £1 a week, you've got to remember the process. It's not just about a week, and this is where people begin to forget that it's numbers that, but I've been so good, so if I was so good for 5 days, I want £5. It's not the way it works. Think of the bank manager or mortgage broker in regards to numbers, and that's your body, and that's how they're going to speak to you and deal with you. It's a long game, it's consistency. It's never going to just be quick and easy. And that's why with these changes, we're trying to make it sustainable. And with the £1 week goals, it's just easier to just accept it. It's not going to go £1 a week. Now, if you start next week, by Friday you could be doing £5. And you have to have a disassociation with that and accept that as your standard each week. You have to accept what you're looking to do is be down 2 stone on Christmas Day, which equates to £1 a week. So if you lose £5 in the first week, you might go 5 weeks without losing anything. Now there's a whole different story that needs to go into as why that's not the case, but let's just deal with that's the way it is. We've enough evidence through me and hundreds and millions of other people that have lost weight that it just doesn't go like that every week. You can get changes, and that's when your mindset, your clothes and everything, your inches, but don't be associated with that. It has to be a weight loss every single week, and especially more so for women. It's not ever going to go like that, obviously for numbers of different reasons. So with that, take the long goal and just accept that it's just £1 a week. If you keep going through the consistent changes, you will get there. In August of 2006, I began to lose weight just through walking and simple changes. By May 2008, so 06 to 08, in the 21 months or whatever it was, I was down 10 stone, so roughly about 140 pounds. And if you take that, that's only 1.5 pounds a week. I didn't lose 1.5 pounds a week. There was more weeks than not that I didn't lose weight. And then a week would come and I'd be down 7 pounds. I just accepted and took it because I knew I wanted to change my whole entire life. So that's the goal that you have to take here, is just £1 goals is absolutely fine. When you're dealing with £1 goals, the 12 steps, the 3 patterns, the overview and the numbers, remember, it's a lot easier when you get home in the evening and you're sitting down in front of the TV. That's where it's easy to pick. So get out, go for a walk. Walking is brilliant, walking is fantastic for losing weight. Mainly for the simple reason that it's time away from the kitchen. Time away from the kitchen is time less thought about eating and accessible food. So that's the basic 4 steps. The numbers, the Monday to Sunday bombs, the 3 major behavioural patterns, the starting with the 12 days, and having the 1 pound goal. And just next week, we're going to be dealing a bit more about the mindset, breaking up the patterns in the 12 days and progressing on each week. If you do have any questions, you can drop me a message or just comment here, absolutely no problem. Thanks very much for listening, and I'll see you next week.